Welcome back.
Yeah.
Welcome back yet again
Welcome
to another episode of the Gentlemen's Club Podcast. I am one of your hosts, your boy Cardell. Here with my co-host, my brother Joshy Ty and Zach himself.
Make sure that you take time to follow, subscribe, and like our YouTube channel so we can get them YouTube dollars. Thank you.
What is the YouTube channel name, sir?
The Gentleman's Club Pod.
Thank you.
Got
See,
it.
we're getting better.
Look, hey, no snickers, no giggles, nothing on this side. I'm in full.
I am proud of you.
I'm in full swing with the
Because I caught him off guard.
So I'm going to leave.
Yeah, go ahead. Excuse me, sir. I apologize.
On this episode, we are going to touch on a very serious topic because I think we all agree that it is absolutely worth mentioning, and it needs to be said publicly and verbally on all of our behalves, so we make it really clear where we stand on it, because issues like this have been going on for a while, and light needs to be shed on it from all areas possible.
Yeah.
I agree 1,000%.
So, where do we begin? Let's talk about this shooting at this spa in Atlanta.
Right.
Tuesday, there was a terrorist that went inside of a.
Thank you for using that word.
It was the only word I was ever.
Okay, just
There was a terrorist that entered an Atlanta spa and murdered 8 individuals in total, 6 of which were of Asian American descent.
4 of them were Korean.
4 of them were Korean.
Yep.
Okay. Since the beginning of this pandemic, there has been a lot of public hate towards Asians, Asian Americans, not really differentiating the two, and there really shouldn't need to be any differentiating, because hate towards anyone is always wrong.
1,000%.
I have Asian friends that
Don't say I have Asian friends. Because that's like saying I have black friends.
You're not.
let me.
You're not wrong, but let them cook.
I'll let you finish.
Let me finish this because it'll make more sense.
Okay.
I have Asian friends that last year during the
Trump season.
George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery,
Yeah.
all the marches that were going on, they were incredibly vocal.
Yes.
Incredibly
Absolutely.
vocal,
Very supportive.
on our side, vocal, and I would not feel right if I did not return that same
Energy. Love.
and say
passion.
what happened was absolutely wrong.
Fucked up.
I feel hurt with you all.
Absolutely.
I have very close friends that just brought a baby into this world, and I can only imagine what they're feeling, because
I can't.
there's a level of helplessness
Yeah.
that just doesn't go away.
Yeah.
And just a quick side note, it could really add to, for a lot of black people and for a lot of races, just period. With everything that just happened recently, if you put yourself in their shoes, we were just feeling this way.
Not even a year ago.
Not
I mean,
at all.
you could make the argument a couple months ago we were feeling this way.
Yeah.
1,000%.
To the point where we got numb to it from our standpoint, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be speaking out when
Yes.
others are also hurting and feeling the same thing.
Yes.
It brings light to a bigger issue that this country does not do a good enough job punishing hate crimes.
Yes.
Or even just speaking to racism in the country to begin with. At one point, we were held as a giant melting pot that came
golden
together.
standard.
Exactly, to make this entire country such a great place. And now it's just like, okay, well, it doesn't matter what you are. Unfortunately, if your skin is not white,
You are considered a problem.
exactly.
Which is so funny, because where the settlers of this land came from, they were hated because of their skin color, because of who they were. So they brought that same hate
It becomes a
to America.
It becomes
and
a-
it became a cycle.
it's a
it becomes a pillar of
Yeah.
what this country is founded on. So it's no
Yes.
longer about you come here and you make something of yourself. It's like, no, you come here and you try to survive, and hopefully you're not killed by the color of your skin, and maybe your people can thrive here.
Like imagine being in school and being of an Asian descent and everybody's mocking you, right?
Everybody keeps calling you Corona, COVID. You know,
Whatever.
Kung flu, all of
this
this
shit.
all of this bullshit.
saying your family eats bats, all that shit. That's
all that
wrong.
shit.
It's
Yeah,
wrong.
it's
It
right.
is.
Absolutely wrong.
And it took us a little while because, you know, unfortunately we were very corrupt growing up here.
Yeah.
And we made jokes and we made fun of everybody that was here. But now it's getting to a point where this way of looking at people is being taught in homes.
Yes.
It becomes a way of life.
Yes.
And now it's taking lives, and it's been taking lives, but it's right there in your face. So
I think we all grew up making like race jokes and lighthearted, not
Of course.
meaning anything of it.
Of course.
And on both sides with all my friends. But when you're around people that are saying the same things, but they don't mean it as a joke, you got to look at yourself and say, I can't say that shit no more.
Yeah.
I can't make those jokes no more.
it's no
And
longer
you have
funny.
to, and now it's not just enough to no longer participate. Now we have to be active in shunning that kind of behavior.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta make those people who think it's okay to joke like that extremely uncomfortable.
Incredibly uncomfortable.
We
You
have
gotta
to
let 'em know.
eradicate that entire behavior.
Absolutely.
Period.
It's unacceptable.
Because, you know, Ashton, you have a son that is
Biracial.
He's biracial and he's growing up and he's going to experience a lot of very
Ar-
difficult
ar-
things
already-
because of he's biracial.
Already has. Already has.
My son is one, and he's going to experience. Unfortunately, he's going to experience some of those things as well. And there's nothing I can do to truly guard him from it.
No, because there's going to be times when your kids are not with you. And that's the thing, when they're in school.
That's where it happens.
This stuff starts at home. Educating people around you who may be ignorant or who don't understand is going to be one of the most important things going forward
Yes.
for us to do, especially with our generation and the generation that's coming up underneath us.
Absolutely.
I saw something that that insinuated that bully culture is necessary to build tough individuals.
To be real, I here's the thing. I understand why that was said, but I guarantee you that could have been said by somebody who maybe grew up in our parents' generation. I understand why they say that. It's because the world is tough. There are mean people out there. There's bullies out there. Those people are going to hurt your feelings, and we want to try to create some type of hardness to our children as they grow to prepare them for the world that they're going to go into, because it's not a nice world at all.
But I feel like you can still instill that same level of toughness without bullying being the choice.
I agree.
Our school system is failing our children, right?
For sure.
Our school
In
system
so
is
many
built
ways.
like a prison.
You're not wrong.
Everything about it is built to mimic a prison, from the colors of the wall to the bells ringing to you being on a set schedule, you eating at a specific time.
And the information that you're given.
The information that you're giving is controlled by whatever they want to give you, and not actually free current information about what's actually reality of the world.
1000%.
Like, think about this. How long was your Black History class in high school?
It was an elective, and it was one semester.
Bruh, the first time I ever even took Black History wasn't until I got out of.
I'm talking about your regular history class.
I'm just what I'm saying. But even
I don't even think they covered it in my
That's what I'm
history
saying.
class.
Even in my history class,
Maybe
like
2 weeks.
right. I came from. I went to
One
a
day.
private school most of my life, and then I transferred to a public high school,
Mm-hmm.
and that is when my mind began to expand just a little bit more and open up. My Black History class was one of the favorite classes I've ever had.
Yeah.
Same.
They taught at the school that I went to that was predominantly white. One class was Black History.
Yep.
One class was Native American history.
Yep.
One class was Asian history.
Yep.
That's it. Rest of it was about white culture.
Yep.
Now, we know as black men sitting here that there's way more about those histories.
Then just the little tidbits
They're
that were given.
entwined. They're entwined. Unfortunately, you can't tell one story without the other
Facts.
and truly call it history.
Well, they whitewash history.
When you're
America.
omitting Native American history, you are omitting
And that's a very crucial part of American history.
You're omitting a huge part of American history because Native
Yes.
American history is where it starts.
Yes, but they don't want to. They don't want that target on their back saying that they were wrong.
African American history.
We're wrong.
African American history takes place more recently than most of the stuff that you learn in history classes.
Yes,
Facts.
most of that started in the 60s, 50s, 60s.
Less than 100 years ago.
Yes,
Actually,
they don't talk about it.
It goes further back.
It does.
Martin Luther King was-
It's a 400-year-old thing, but
The most important parts.
the biggest changes,
Yes.
Yeah,
were 60 years ago.
yeah.
1000%.
I can't speak on Asian culture. I do not know a ton about it, but
When they were locked up in L.A., they had them caged up like animals.
you can't tell me that it's not entwined with American
Talk
history.
about that shit.
You got World War II.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah. All of that stuff is there.
That's just
Yes.
what I know off the top of my head. It's
Yes.
there. I know it's there.
So that ignorance is definitely something that's
It's bred. It's bred into children.
it starts
So like you have children that don't have the education of other cultures and that live in America and they think that America's all about white. And then they get out here in the real world and they're like,
and they practice that. They practice that on other people. And especially when
Because
you see,
society won't tell them they're wrong.
exactly. And especially when you see the
it's
way
top.
that the results end. And there are groups out there that they still live by this message. They're still teaching their children this message, and they still want this country to remain quote unquote theirs, and however they feel about it.
When you get to the circles of power in most major companies, you look at the board and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
that must be how the world is.
Yeah.
well, that's a mirror of America right there.
Exactly.
The powers that control the company is a mirror of what's at the top.
Exactly.
When you look at the bottom, all the diversity is there, right?
We're all there.
All the fun.
We're all there.
times.
All the
And they can
minorities
go-
are at the bottom.
And they can go and say, we're a very diverse company because we have all these people who are working at D-level positions
That's not true.
at our company.
None of that
Oh,
stuff is true.
It's not true because you have no influence. There is no influential person that is sitting at these board meetings having a voice for the people that sit at your D-level position.
Exactly.
Which you can see with some of these branding companies. Like you go back to H&M and when they had their debacle where they had the black kid in the monkey.
Yep.
The monkey shirt. And if you had somebody of color in that room, I'm not even saying a black person. If you have a person of color in the room,
Minority.
yeah, they would have
Any
said
minority would
they're
have been
gonna look
like,
and say, I don't know if we should do that, guys.
exactly. That might not be the best
rethink
move.
this design, please.
Right, exactly. If they were aware and they had the courage to stand up and say something. A lot of times when you do stand up and say something to
get
be more
blackballed.
inclusive, you get blackballed. You get removed from that position,
Don't I know it?
or you get placed into a box. So
You get placed into the
Yeah.
box of the black man that's always
Exactly.
speaking about black people.
and we're not laughing at the situation. We're laughing because
Laughing about
we-
something
reality.
that I'm not going to talk about.
yeah, we're laughing because
That's reality.
we've experienced that stuff personally.
Yes.
But just going forward, it just puts right back into your face this same issue that at one point was focused on one minority, and now we've moved on to another.
We're repeating history.
The same things keep happening over and over and over
We're,
again.
we're repeating history.
And
if
this
you really
is-
think
yeah.
about it, it was black people, then it was Hispanic, and then it was Asian. Then it starts all over again. Black people, Hispanics, Asian. Hispanic people are nothing but Native Americans that move south.
It's I don't know. And to the point, it's like I'm really beyond tired. You're beyond tired.
Exhausted.
You're seeing this stuff happen month after month, constantly.
You become numb.
Exactly, and eventually that just becomes the way of life.
That plays into their hand. If they can control the masses and exhaust you from all this information and you not be able to absorb any of it, so the information overloads you.
Right.
Boom. This event, that event. They're going to be tired and worn out. They're not going to have enough energy to fight.
You think that this is just the way of life and this is the way how things needs to be, and that's not the case at all.
They're afraid of unity, man.
Which is even to a bigger point why it's important that we're supportive and
Absolutely.
we speak out about and we educate people who are ignorant.
Yes.
This is the exact time to do that because a divisive measure is definitely in the air right now.
Yes, and Biden was sent to us with Camilla to calm us down. We can't have America this riled up. We literally looked like a third world country, and like shit was about to hit the fan.
We look like
they
that.
put Biden in. They was like, Biden, you got to calm these people down.
We look like that because
Get them some money, get them the stimmy.
These very basic issues that could be solved with people actually having compassion for another human
And
being.
admitting guilt.
Well, a lot of other countries didn't even realize that America had race problems because they keep it under hush so bad.
No, you have too much of celebrity, who's dating who divorced who.
Yeah,
who's
they
this rich.
they put enough distraction in your face that when Trump got in office, they were like, "Oh shit, there's a lot of racism going on in America that we didn't even realize was happening there."
That's the sad part.
I've had conversations with people outside of the country, and they're like, "How did this happen?"
Yes,
Like, I don't know.
It's like, bro, this has been the norm. To be real with you, it's just it's covered up very well.
Yeah, it's been status quo my whole life.
For sure, for sure. And it's like the attacks against the Asian community has definitely been. It's not like this is new, but because of this attack, now it's definitely directly in your face. But this started when Corona started.
Absolutely.
These attacks were happening.
Chinese virus. What the fuck was he calling that shit?
The Kung flu.
The Kung flu. We had a president in office who blatantly made these kind of jokes and blamed an entire other country for everything that had happened without taking any type of accountability for
His handling.
his handling of the situation.
What is if it did come from China?
None of that matters. None of that matters.
I'm just throwing this out.
Yeah,
it was because of retaliation of him trying to take away money.
Exactly. But
from them.
Either way.
But
none of
either
that,
way.
the conspiracy doesn't matter.
That does not validate hatred towards individuals.
It does
that
not.
have
when you have
nothing.
people when you
It
have
has
people
nothing to do
living
with it.
you have people living abroad in other countries, and you this is the risk of that kind of stuff, spreading that kind of hatred.
What
Yeah.
happened on Tuesday happened to Americans.
Yes.
People that came here because they wanted to be Americans.
Yep.
Yes.
And they're not being treated as Americans. It's
None
the
of the-
same plight
none of the
that we
Americans
have
are
black
being
people.
treated as
It's
Americans.
the same plight that we have black people has had. We want to be treated as Americans because we are.
Right. Because we came
I've
here.
never been to Africa. You can't tell me to go back there. I've never been there.
Right.
I'm an American.
Right.
I'm supposed to be a proud American, but because of certain things, I can't call myself a proud American.
Exactly.
I'm not.
I can't never said I was a proud American.
It's rough.
I stopped putting my hand across my chest in high school
That-
for the
and-
flag.
and that
they was looking at me like, what? I
Yeah,
was
that
like, I don't
that becomes
believe
an,
in that shit.
That becomes an offense, but at the same point in time, it's like, okay, well, then what do we do when that hatred is being
Yeah, right.
pointed against us? If I'm supposed to be proud of the country that I live in, where's the protection? Where is the
support.
stoppage?
Give me a reason to be proud.
Exactly. That's the point right there.
Hey, shout out to Evanston, man. They paying reparations to people. Did y'all hear about that?
I don't know if that was worthy of the bomb or not because I have
Yeah,
no way of fact checking that at the moment.
That's real. Like that hit the news a couple weeks ago. It hit national news that they were one of the first places to pay out reparations. They're utilizing their city ticket system to pay African American people reparations.
Wow.
200 million is in the pot right now.
Wow.
Oh my God.
That's I can't lie. That's some good business.
Evanston was the first city to step out there and say,
Evanston, Illinois.
yes,
Wow.
yes,
I got to look more into that.
yes,
Don't care if it's an apartment.
yes. I was thinking about moving back. Like,
Yeah.
I might have to move a little bit further up north.
But going forward,
Damn, just missed it.
Just missed it. Fuck.
but going forward, this is sickening. This is very sickening. Let's go into a little bit of how this was portrayed to the rest of the world, with them referencing this man as having a sex addiction. I guess he had frequented this.
You know what's crazy? When white people do shit like this, they always make some fucking excuse for the motherfucker.
they seem.
I
They
have
seem.
another- I have
I'm
another
sorry.
point to
I don't.
that.
I don't want to get. I don't want to sound like that. But like,
I have a,
when they motherfucking do shit, he either got a mental illness, a sex addiction. It's some bullshit.
it's
Call
a-
the motherfucker what he is. He's a fucking racist.
He's
and
a terrorist.
He created a terror attack on American citizens,
Exactly.
on American
So
soil.
I want to point something out, and it's kind of piggybacking on your what you're saying. Anytime that there is a mass shooting in this country, the shooter is always apprehended, seemingly without a single shot fired.
No
by
problems
police.
at all. No problems
He is
at all.
caught alive, unharmed.
All good. Don't shoot. Don't shoot. You're not.
Why can't minorities that are unarmed
Get the same thing in return.
treatment?
Because you're scary. They're afraid
So
of
you mean to tell me that a police officer is more afraid of a unarmed black man than he is somebody that has already committed murder holding an assault weapon?
Yes, because you're more dangerous. I don't know what you're capable of doing.
Okay. Okay.
You
just
are,
wanted to ask
you
the
are
question.
intimidating to me.
I just wanted
You're
to
an
ask the
intimidating
question.
figure. I don't really know if you're armed or not. So I'm not gonna take a chance. You just killed all those people,
And
you're black and you're crazy. So I'm gonna shoot you.
the sad part
Fuck
is
it.
though. The sad part is though. Our typical responses whenever anything happens in the news, our typical response is it would have been completely different if that person was black, if they were Mexican, and now it's when they're Asian. Now, if there are any other races other than white, when these shootings happen, they have an entire background for these people who are apprehended seemingly without incident. They have an entire background on their upbringing, where they came from. They have great pictures
came
of them
from a
doing
good
community
home.
work. They came from this kind of home. Whether it was good or bad, they seem to put a great spotlight on all of it.
So to quote the
Fake news.
the captain of the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office, he said that that Long had a really bad day.
A really
So due to the horrific violence,
a really bad day. There have
He had
been
a really
children.
bad day.
There have been minority children who have been murdered for playing with fake toys.
Yeah.
he had a really bad day. The captain,
But he
of the
but he
police.
came with a real stick. This man pulled a real weapon, and he had a really bad day. I've
murdered
seen
real people.
I've seen black men or black children who were barely above the age of 18. They've never been described as having a really bad day.
You can't have a bad day as a black person or a minority.
You'll end up in jail or dead.
Because then you're being aggressive, or then you get labeled as all of these things that the media portrays you to be, because of their control of how they want you to be portrayed by the masses, and the masses being the majority.
Right.
So as long as they can create an image of you and their likeness to keep you from unifying together and understanding that the money is what's controlling them, and we need to motherfucking take over this shit, they gonna paint that picture.
And to be real with you, there's all
What
minorities.
if black and white people came together? And with money.
Hold on.
With money.
I hear you.
Well,
I
And
hear you.
controlled money?
we could talk about
yeah.
Fred Hampton.
Yes. And that's what I was about to get to.
And what he was doing.
Yes.
And nothing scares the U.S. government more than unity.
Yes, Fred Hampton had KKK, the Latino, everybody united in Chicago. And that motherfucker, FBI was like, hold the
FBI
fuck
said
up.
he's got to go.
1,000%.
He can't go to jail.
They will-
he has to go. He
They
has
will-
to depart. He can't
They
exist.
will take them out right in front of you in order to show you exactly what not to do.
So we know what happens when you try to bring unity.
But I think that was an old thing. I think it's time for that to.
I don't think that feeling has changed. It's just
I think
it's
that's
more,
fear.
It's more covert.
They created fear in people. And when you enlist fear in people, you control people.
Absolutely.
Everybody's afraid of being that guy and having that target on your back.
Absolutely. So I wanna close this up because I don't want to spend an entire hour on this, though I do believe it's important. We are on time constraints.
It's not. I want to clear this up. It's not hate against white people. It's not hate against. It's hate against racist people.
It's hate against hate.
It's hate against people who hate.
Yeah.
For sure.
They like that.
Yeah.
I know there are a lot of advocates who are white, who are of whatever racial background you may come from. I want to be clear with that. I don't want people to think that we coming at y'all because of
All
We're
your
not
complexion.
we're not returning that hate in any way. We're speaking to the actual things that are in our faces and what we actually see. So please don't take offense.
The problem. Is what we have are
sure.
talking
and
about.
that's the system
Yes.
that governs.
For sure.
So thank you guys for sitting
Hold,
through
hold on,
this.
time out.
Okay.
But I do want to give all of our prayers
Absolutely.
and thoughts with those who passed away,
The families involved.
families.
families for sure. And I have to say that we're not separating. We're not separating and only focusing. It's like, damn, that's fucked up. That's just y'all. We're not separating in that way.
No.
Please take time to educate everyone around you who is showing anything ignorant or trying to encourage this type of hate at all. We're not with that at all.
We have to put it into it, not just when it comes to things that offend us as black people, but all minorities.
1,000%.
All people, period.
All people, period. But first and foremost, minorities. Absolutely.
The disenfranchised, yes.
For sure. I think that is it. We are the Gentleman's Club Pod.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.